Taoiseach, that was quite an incredible display of bluff, of bluster, and of attempted distraction of what's been happening here. He didn't answer any of the questions. So, Taoiseach, why has your government, with the support of the so-called independents, voted to block any questioning of Minister Niall Collins? We know that we will not get a proper addressing of the very serious allegations of corruption against him. How do we know it? Because it's less than 2 months that he was in here making a statement about the last scandal that he was embroiled in. And what did he do in that statement? He studiously ignored the central allegation against him that he had told a mistruth on his planning application. He didn't deny it, he didn't dispute it, he simply ignored it. So why are you facilitating him to avoid properly addressing the allegations? You sacked Barry Cowan because he refused to attend a question and answer session in the Dáil. Why are you protecting Niall Collins? A week has passed since the original story was published on The Ditch, and Niall Collins has not disputed or denied any of the key facts that were outlined there. Niall Collins' wife approached Limerick County Council in December 2006 through a solicitor expressing interest in buying a plot of land. The next month, Niall Collins participated in the decision at the Bruff local electoral area to put this land up for sale. Unless Niall Collins is going to make the highly implausible case that he didn't know that his own wife had expressed interest in buying the land, well then the situation is absolutely clear. Minister Collins, then councillor, breached the Code of Conduct for councillors and he breached the Local Government Act. He arguably committed a criminal offence in doing so. And let me, for the benefit of the Taoiseach, read the relevant section of the Code of Conduct for councillors. Under the 2001 Act, councillors must disclose at a meeting of the local authority or of its committees any pecuniary or other beneficial interest they or a connected person have in or material to any matter with which the local authority is concerned in the discharge of its functions and which comes before the meeting. The councillor must withdraw from the meeting after disclosure and must not vote or take part in any discussion or consideration of the matter. It is crystal clear. His wife had a pecuniary interest in the matter of the land being put up for sale. Niall Collins did not disclose this interest, he did not withdraw from the meeting, he participated in the decision to put the land up for sale. Taoiseach, how can he remain as a minister? His wife bought the land from the council for €148,000. She's reportedly in the process of selling it back to the council. That will be for an amount many multiples of that.
Thank you,
he used his position on the council not for the benefit of the public that elected him, but for the enrichment of his own family. It smells like the same old sleeving behaviour, the same old stroke politics of Fianna Fáil, starring a brazen gombeen always with his eye on the main chance. Bertie is back. This old muck is too, and that's why you're trying to cover it up.
There's nothing to cover up, and that's why, by the way, you've made your decision. Yeah. You've made your mind up a long time ago. I saw you on primetime last week. You've labelled, essentially, to all intents and purposes, Deputy Collins as corrupt and committing a criminal offence. To all intents, yeah. So what questions do you want to ask then? You've made up your mind. Stop now. Once through the chair, if I may say through the chair. If I may say through the chair that the Area Local Election Committee, or the Area Committee, the Bruff Area Committee, has no statutory authority, had none at the time, in terms of disposing of a property. It's the first fact. So there was no pecuniary or beneficial interest in the land on behalf of Niall Collins or indeed his wife. None at that time. No, none at that time. Sorry, Deputy, none at that time.
Taoiseach, sorry.
I respectfully through the chair.
Sorry. If you address your question, your response through the chair, and if you hold your wish until the questions are answered.
At the time, through the chair, and I have said it would have been better at the time if Deputy Collins had left the meeting and not participated. But it's very clear, officials brought that proposal to the Area Committee at the time. I was trying to be fair and balanced here, Deputy. I'm not going to prejudge like you do. And it was at the 2008 meeting, well over a year and a half later, that the land was formally disposed by the full council. Niall Collins wasn't even a member. It was an open sales process, totally transparent, different bids and so on like that apparently, and the land was then sold. And in our own right, his wife is entitled. I don't think we should cast aspersions on any individual or any woman who goes forward and on the open market purchases a property. And I didn't engage in bluff earlier, Deputy, because I'm very clear about this, and I'm very clear-viewed now through the Chair, that this has been going on for quite some time. There's been attempted character assassinations of many politicians in this House, of many political parties, if they're not the same political orientation of those who back on the ditch, good friends of yours in terms of political philosophy and political ideology. No question about that. And the selective and distorted way that stories are originated and presented leaves an awful lot to be desired. This is a political organisation. That's my point. And the whole agenda is create the campaign, get to the paid ads, get it trending, attack media if they don't cover it, and then we get into the Dáil for questions and answers. Well, we'll take our call on this, we'll make our judgment call on this as to the balance in terms of how we approach it in terms of Dáil questions and so on like that. But I'm very clear now what's going on here. There's a political organisation out there. It's not an independent media platform by any stretch of the imagination, nor should anyone even suggest that it is, because if you read all the tweets of Paddy Cosgrave or Shea Bowes in respect of myself or in respect of other political leaders on this side of the House, it's very clear their agenda is to take down the government. That's fine, they're entitled to have that. But I understand what it is, but I'm not going to facilitate it every week in and out here in Dáil. And you made a comment in terms of the planning application through the Chair that Deputy Collins made. If you look through, again, it was never said in the original story. And I said my impression when I read the ditch first was quite shocking. But when I actually read the documentation, it transpires that it was in his name. He fulfilled all the criteria for the planning, and the advertisement was in his name and was bona fide on the file. But you would never have thought about that, you would never have thought that through the Chair on the ditch article that was first published.
Taoiseach, without the ditch, Robert Troy would still be a minister. Without the ditch, Damien English would still be a minister. No wonder you were attempting to undermine the ditch, because the ditch has been quite successful in exposing corrupt, unethical practices by ministers in your government and in your party. The Taoiseach would leave everyone with the impression that the meeting on the 15th of January 2007 of Bruff Electoral Area Committee, it may as well not have happened. They didn't have any power. They can't even put the land up for sale. So the Taoiseach might tell me, how did the land end up for sale? So there's a decision in January 2007 which Niall Collins participates in without declaring that his wife is interested in buying the land, and that agrees to put the land up for sale. And then the land goes up for sale. But the Taoiseach says this meeting that he participated in, that he didn't recuse himself from, has no relationship to the land being put up for sale. This made the decision. Okay, well then, Taoiseach, what's clear is that he made the decision, he participated in the decision to put the land up for sale. Without that decision, his wife can't possibly buy the land, can't make the massive increase in money that she's been able to make. His family isn't able to enrich themselves in the way that they've been able to do. That is why it is absolutely clear, unless his case is the extremely implausible case that he had no idea that his wife had expressed an interest in buying the land. Well, it's there in black and white. You just want to cover it up.
All of this. And what really alarms me is the Russian embassy in Ireland praised Shea Bowes in February 2023 with a tweet on his essay, and I read the essay, blaming the West for the war in Ukraine, and a quote, an extensive analysis of the proxy war waged by the United States, EU and NATO against Russia in Ukraine by Bowes Shea, an independent journalist from Ireland, who then a few weeks ago, on the 9th of April, turns up on RT India, where a caption referred to him as Russia Today correspondent.